Don't trip, you know? I know things is hard right now. You looking for a job. You out there hustling. Money gonna come your way, just don't trip. Gotta keep your shoes tied.
This is part 4 of the Russell Poole theory. And now we're going to talk about the thieves are inside of death row records. You have Rafael Perez convicted of stealing evidence out of evidence lockers. You have David Mack convicted of robbing a Bank of America broad daylight with 2 accomplices. And you have Kevin Gaines having most likely stolen the evidence in the Snoop Dogg murder trial. You have Reggie Wright Jr., who's known to rob drug dealers. He's known as, when he was a jailer, of robbing the inmates of their money. And so we have thieves now inside of death row records. And Reggie Wright Sr. always wants to know about where the busts are going to happen the night before the busts happen so that there could be a pre-raid done. And we know in the aftermath of the 2Pac murder that there was a pre-raid that was done the day before, and the day before the raid actually happens when they round up Orlando Anderson and other people. There's a pre-raid that happens, so they pretty much know what they're going to get when they go out and do the actual raid. And so we have thievery happening. Why is this important? Well, you have thieves inside of death row records, and the temptation of being able to take down that big of a score is way too much for these thieves. They have to do it. They have to take down this score. And how do we know that that Compton Police and LAPD were working together? Well, in the Snoop Dogg murder trial, we know that the Compton Police and the LAPD were both intimidating the witnesses in the case. Sometimes it was just LAPD, sometimes it was just Compton Police, and sometimes both would show up at different times to intimidate the witnesses, to persuade them not to testify in that case. We also have a pattern here. Filberto Cuesta is an amazing LAPD officer who innocently drives into a neighborhood and gets ambushed. And why did he drive into that neighborhood and get ambushed? Well, the drug dealer that was in that neighborhood had been robbed previously. And so the next cop that came in got the brunt of having a drug dealer robbed. When an LAPD cop robs a drug dealer, it changes the rules of engagement. And that's why it puts other officers' lives in danger. And Filberto Cuesta made the ultimate sacrifice by laying down his life in the service of all of us, because drug dealers had been robbed by LAPD cops. Well, the same thing happens in Compton. We have Burrell and McDonald, who are also gunned down. And why were they gunned down? Because the drug dealers had been robbed by Compton Police. And so the next time the other Compton Police roll into the neighborhood, they suffer the consequences and are gunned down and murdered in cold blood. And Reggie Wright, known to be a thief. Rafael Perez, known to be a thief. David Mack, known to be a thief. And make no mistake about it, these guys were all thick as thieves. And this is an incendiary situation for death row records. And David Kenner's got the rift with Suge Knight. So now it's just a question of time before things start to bubble up and this team starts to come together to create the explosive situation that comes when 2Pac Shakur shows up at Death Row Records. More later.
Road rage, got me feeling like I'm out of my mind. I'm on the stage, feeling like
wild like a wild force, but I bet God got something better for us. Just gotta get together.